Alright, what's up everybody? I'm here, Ram Thorburn here, back doing a hip shot video. I know I haven't done these for a while, just coming in here shooting from the hip. I know, honestly, I didn't think I was particularly great at it. I guess I just need some practice actually sitting here going off the cuff. I know with Revved Up, I mostly write the episodes out. Today, but, we've got some issues that are really starting to hit home with me. Most of you guys know I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I live in Los Angeles. But we all know what's going on in Atlanta right now. We had that incident where Officer Rolfe shot that guy, Rayshard Brooks was his name. He was passed out drunk in a Wendy's drive-thru. The cops were called. They showed up. They interrogated him, and everything seemed to be polite and cordial. But they ran his background information, and they found out, he has a history of a child abuse, false imprisonment, I think. I'd have to actually look, I know the child abuse was part of it. Anyways, he was a bad dude with a violent past, and I'm sure there's going to be some stories about him trying to get his life together or this and that. Well, you know what? Driving drunk and going out, passing out in the Wendy's drive-thru is not the way you get your life together. So he may have been trying to get his life together, but either way, failure. So the officer has now been charged with felony murder. Now, felony murder means that you commit murder while also committing a felony. So if you, say, rob a bank, which is a felony, and then somebody gets shot, that would be felony murder. Now, this Rayshard Brooks, he beat up both of the cops who were trying to arrest him for driving under the influence, beat them both up, slammed one of their heads into the ground, and then stole their taser, ran off. This Officer Rolfe followed him, and the guy turns around and he's aiming his taser at him, and the cop shoots him. It was a purely justified kill. On one end we hear that a taser is a deadly weapon when being used by police on a perp. But now they're saying, but a taser is not a deadly weapon, so they shouldn't have used deadly force. Well, you're going to have to get your story straight. It's one or the other. Is it a deadly weapon or is it not? I think they set the standards. They have to live by that. But this is what we're finding right now, is that law enforcement is going to a total double standard. We have been seeing this in New York, where if you try to open up your business, try to put food on your family's table, you can get arrested for it. But if you go and you riot and you burn down that store owner's store, their business, you get off scot-free. Because if you riot for Black Lives Matter or for these social justice causes, then you're on the right side of their policies. It's complete uneven application of the rule. And now what we're seeing in Atlanta is we are seeing police are now calling out en masse. First of all, we see police quitting en masse across the country because their mayors, their governors, even their unions sometimes, they're not having their back. They can't, if they go out there and do their job and something happens, they get fried. Who would want to do that job? Nobody. Nobody's going to do that job. And we're seeing that in Atlanta now. It started out with a bunch of rumors. I wasn't sure what to think, whether it was true. I know Twitter can be a lot of people jibba-jabbing back and forth, and you never really know what's going on. But apparently people were checking the police scanners last night, and it was radio silence. Radio silence. So it looks like the cops are all walking out. I don't know whether it's all of them. I don't know whether it's most of them. I don't know whether it's half of them. Information is hard to get cleanly right now, and that's also a problem. But things are devolving quickly. Things are devolving very quickly, and this is what the left wants. They want the police to be abolished, and That's actually a misnomer. They don't want the police to be abolished. They want our current police to be abolished. They want to replace those police with ideological thought police. We have the implementation of an Orwellian future staring us down the gut right now, or staring us in the eye, whatever. my brain is so melted by everything that's going on. I'm surprised I'm even getting words out right now. But society is devolving. It's devolving very quickly. We're seeing double standards, ideological implementation of the rule of law, which means we have no rule of law. That means we just have gangs. We have two sides. And if you're on the wrong side, you go down. If you're on the right side, you can get away with anything. It's not the rule of law. I know there's a lot of people out there right now, and they're excoriating Donald Trump. They're saying that he's not doing anything, and if he doesn't do anything, then he shouldn't have our votes. I think this is premature. I think this is jumping the gun. I think it's a reaction based on fear. What's going on right now, I think Donald Trump is showing us what is going to happen if Democrats get power. We need to see it. Now, maybe we don't need to see it. Maybe the people who are watching this video, maybe the people who tune into conservative news, who tune in, who are paying attention to what's going on, we don't need to see it because we know. But that we are not the majority. The majority of people are moderates, they're independents, they're maybe blue dog Democrats, they're middle of the roads, they're not particularly engaged. You cannot just tell these people what is going on, what these Democrats have planned for us. They have to be able to see it. If they can't see it, it's a fairy tale to them. So I think what Trump is doing right now is he is exposing this. And it is going to bring some pain. The medicine never tastes good. So it's going to hurt a little bit while we're seeing what it is that they're trying to implement. But if we don't see it, the message is never going to get across. And people are going to go out, they're going to vote Democrats because they've always voted Democrats, and they're not going to realize that voting Democrats is quite possibly the worst thing, most disastrous thing that could possibly happen in our nation, for our future, for our children, for anybody that we care about. This is very, very serious times. This is going to be the most serious election ever. So you have these conservatives out there, and honestly, I've heard a lot of them out there saying if Trump doesn't do anything, then he doesn't deserve our votes. I think that is a pussy's way out. I think that is a coward's way out. I think that is. I don't think that's actually seeing the game. I don't think that's seeing the chessboard. This is a game of chess. We have to be able to know what's coming, what's being implemented, and we have to move accordingly. And part of our plan, part of the conservative plan, has to be letting your average Joe who is not politically engaged see firsthand with their very own eyes what this all leads to. If they don't see what this leads to, yeah, sure, I vote Democrat. I'll vote Democrat again. I remember Biden. The Obama years were good. No, the Obama years weren't good. The Obama years were actually what set all of this up. Obama was the worst president for race relations, for police relations. Let's just say he was one of the worst presidents we've ever had, if not the worst. We don't need to go into all that, though. That's a whole different tangent. What we do need to talk about now is our responsibilities as conservatives, as Christians, as people who believe in the founding principles of this nation. For years, we have let the left decide who we are, what we are. The left has complete control of the media. They have complete control of the narrative. And we keep bending to the narrative's will because we're afraid of losing public favor if the narrative goes too far against us. Guess what? It doesn't matter what you do. The narrative is always going to be against us. So, I'm trying to figure out a way to say this in which YouTube won't kick me off the channel. But you could commit some act of violence, and it's going to be you're going to be treated the same way as if you just spoke up about something. There is no winning. You cannot agree with them because they know what you are anyways, and they're just going to use you as they gain power to keep you calm as they gain power, and then boom, it's too late. Your cities are overrun. So I'm not saying that we need to go out and commit acts of violence. Not at all. That's not at all what we should be doing. We should not be going down, hunting anybody, engaging in the same sort of practices that they're engaging in. What we do need to be doing is standing our damn ground. Castle doctrine refers to your own home. Well, right now, It's not our homes being taken over. In some cases, it is our homes being taken over. But our hometowns are being taken over. And what are our homes worth if our towns are overrun? So we need to actually have the balls to step up, to go out there and say enough is enough. And we need to remind them. They might have the narrative power. They might have the cultural influential power. We got the guns. We got the real power. At any time, if we wanted to, and now I'm not saying we should do this. In fact, we should not do this. But there's a reason that when people go and they peacefully march, say in in Michigan, you had the people take their arms to the state house and they peacefully stood there. They didn't have to commit any violence. We don't have to commit any violence. But we need to remind them of our capability and the power that we do hold. And that is the point of these protests. It's to remind them that we have a threshold and the means. At this point, I'm worried that it might be getting to be a little too late. It isn't too late, but if we keep sitting on our hands and knees and worrying about the optics of how we look, standing our ground and going out there with our guns and saying, no, we will not put up with this. If we keep worrying about those optics, it's over. It's over. We got bullied into submission, and even though we had the brute force to say no, we laid down, we rolled over, and we gave away our futures. We can't do that. We can't do that. So don't go out there causing violence. Don't go out there attacking anybody, but stand your ground, and if they attack us, you respond with equal force. Or, whatever you have to do. Whatever you have to do. We're the silent majority, and we need to stop being silent. We need to stop keeping our mouths shut. We need to stop sitting by and letting this happen to us. Enough is enough. I know, as Christians, we don't want to commit violence. We don't want to do any of this. But think about your kids. Think about your children. Think about if we don't stand up to this. Yes, there's going to be some ugliness that comes out of it. There absolutely will be ugliness for standing up and fighting. But it's not going to be nearly as ugly as if we as if we roll over and die for them, and let them turn the future for our children into this despotic, communist, lawless, socialist, whatever the fuck they want to make it. It's better that a little bit of ugliness happens now and we preserve our freedoms than we cower down away from any sort of ugliness and we allow our country to be turned into China or the Soviet Union or any of these other places. The list goes on. We have plenty of history to know how this ends. It's up to us to not let it end that way. So, I'm trying to figure out exactly what my plan is. I mean, of course, I've been arming up. I've been buying guns. I'm actually going to do something a little different than what I normally do from these hip shot or revved up videos. I bought a really cool new gun. I'm going to do a little unboxing video for it later for y'all to see what I'm doing to get ready. I'm sleeping with a 357 Magnum under my pillow at night now. I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning, and I don't know whether it was a party or a riot, but I heard people stomping around my apartment building. The music was blaring, so I think it might have been a party, but I had never heard so much just boom, boom for just people movement in the building. And so enough to wake me up, and I'm a deep sleeper. So LA has been weird. It's been oddly peaceful in LA, a place where you think a lot of this stuff would have been taking root, where a lot of this action would have happened. I'm not so sure that should be reassuring to me. It might be some sort of calm before the storm type situation, because I could imagine LA getting pretty bad when it all comes down to it, because, I mean, this is lefty central. But tell your loved ones, arm up. I left some guns back home with my parents when I moved out to California because they weren't California legal. And so I've been training my parents on how to operate them. My mom went and she shot a gun for the first time the other day. She's talking about buying guns. And my mom is the sweetest woman you'll ever meet. You know, she's a school teacher, loves the children. Sweet, sweet woman. She's now out there learning how to shoot guns and defend herself. And it's heartbreaking that it's come to this. It's heartbreaking that we're in a place where, I mean, I wish I was back there that I could help defend them too. I mean, my parents aren't young, you know, they're getting older. But look out for your loved ones and tell your loved ones, even if you don't want to hear this, even if you are kind of afraid of guns, you don't want to have a gun in your house, these are not peaceful times. These are not certain times. These are not certain times where one day rolls into the next and you know you're going to be fine because it's just la-di-da-di-da day in America. No. Shit's falling apart right now. Be ready. Tell your loved ones. Be ready. Because if you're not ready when it happens, it's too late. It's too late. And I've had people, you know, the optimism bias is real. I've had friends that I try to say, you know, and I know you've got a couple pistols, but you really do need to get yourself an AR-15 or a long rifle, something that you can better defend your place with. And you're like, oh no, I don't think anything's going to happen. Yeah, it will. It will. It will. If it's happening in Atlanta and you live, you know, like 30 miles outside of Atlanta, you think these people aren't going to go out into the suburbs and say, oh, this is where the rich people are. Let's go take their shit. Nobody to stop us here. And we've already seen. These people don't come to your house one at a time, two at a time. They come in gangs. They come in swarms of 10 people at a time, 12 people at a time. If you're not ready, it's on you. It's on you. And if you've got loved ones and you're not ready to defend them, if you're too timid, fuck, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're fucked. It's sad, but this is where we're getting to. Again, don't go out there and start causing problems. But if we need to get together and we need to go with our guns and we need to stand up to these people, I heard in Ohio there was I guess like 80 Black Lives Matter activists went and were trying to protest in this really small town of Ohio, and you had 700 people from the town. There's a town of like 2,800 people. 700 of them came out with guns and bats and said, "Not in our town. Get the fuck out of here." That's what we need to do. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt. Nobody needs to be hurt. That is what needs to be understood. Just because we come out with guns, just because we come out and stand our ground, does not mean anybody needs to get hurt. In fact, we should do everything that we can to make sure people don't get hurt. But we need to remind them that if you're going to come and try to hurt us, we can. We have the ability to hurt you worse. And this is what people don't realize, is that if you don't have the capacity of violence, you can't be peaceful. It just means you're a pushover. And there's no honor in that. You can't be peaceful with no ability to be otherwise. To be peaceful is to have the capacity and then make the choice. That is what to be peaceful means. And so we want to remain peaceful. We want to remain peaceful, but we also cannot stand by and just let these people, these communists, these anarchists, these animals, they are animals. They're animals. They're rabid fucking dogs. And what do you do with rabid dogs? They come onto your property because they're not going to afford you any better. They're not going to afford you any better. So these are pretty uncertain times, and I hate that I have to make this video, and I hope YouTube doesn't take this as any kind of proclamation of violence. This is the exact opposite, actually. This is, we need to end the violence. But we need to end the violence with a show of force. Not a show of violence, but a show of force, a show of capacity, a show of capability. That we won't be tread upon. And for the men in the audience, you have a responsibility. You have a duty to protect your loved ones. Don't be a pussy. Or the people you love are going to get hurt and it's going to be your fault. Because you absconded from your responsibilities. So, I hope you guys got this message. I'm running out of a little steam here. Again, I'm not very great at this coming off the cuff thing yet. I'm still figuring it all out and kind of getting comfortable in front of a camera when I don't have my scripted, revved up show in front of me. I put a lot of work into producing that, but it isn't off the cuff. I mean, I'm not just going off the top of the dome when I do that show. The message is very clear. Oh, excuse me. I'm able to make the message very clear that way. But anyways, stay tuned. I am working on the next episode of the Black Lives Matter for Revved Up. The second portion is going to be about how Black Lives Matter is essentially just a front for leftist ideologues, that it actually has nothing to do with Black lives, that it has nothing to do with the cause of protecting Black lives. So I hope you'll tune in for that. I'm going to try to start doing some more of these hip shots. I would love to be able to do like 3 of them a day. And so you might just have to bear with me a little bit as I get more comfortable doing them and as the quality ticks up a little bit. I've also got a lot of work to do with my full-time job right now. It's been a little hectic. So anyways, I hope you guys stay tuned, and also remember, bang them buttons, the like, share, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. I would love to hear what you think about what's going on, what you want to hear me talk about as well. I would love to get some input. Maybe there's certain things that I'm missing in the news cycle, or that I'm missing in the cultural wars that you'd like to hear about. And if it's in my wheelhouse, then I'm here to give you guys what you want. So let me know, and until then, signing off.